Welcome to this episode of Mainline Connect, where we try to help you with networking tips, interview some local folks, and tell you about some events that you should know about in the area. Today I have two guests on my show. My first guest is Louise Kelly-Nerelli, and my second guest is Stephanie Gambescia, I apologize. And they together are the owners and founders of the Busy Mamas networking organization, as well as respective business owners in the area. Tina runs Chase and Ella, which is a photography business, and Stephanie runs Seal Events. So welcome today.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to be here.
Thanks. So the first thing we want to do is talk about, a little bit about a networking topic. And today it's how do you prepare for a networking event, which I think, can really help those of us that maybe aren't natural networkers and kind of have a lot of anxiety towards coming to an event and how it's going to benefit us. So I wanted to give a few tips, what I do to prepare for networking events. So first of all, I think anytime that you have the opportunity to view the guest list before an event, that's going to be beneficial to you. You can look it over, you can see if you know people, you can see who's going to be attending, and at least you can get a better feeling how big the event is, who you're going to anticipate seeing there. And the best thing to do is then look at the list and see maybe 3 to 5 people that you want to target. Maybe they're good for your business, maybe you've personally wanted to meet them. Just pick a few people. Try not to go into a networking event with the mindset that, it's an hour-and-a-half networking event, and if I meet 30 people and give out cards, that's going to be a success. To me, that's a failure. If you can go to an event and make a few solid, good connections, that's a successful event. So to the extent that you can prepare that ahead of time, that's a great thing. And connect with people before the event. So, it may seem kind of a strange concept to connect with people that you don't really know, but if you see they're going to be at the event, no reason you can't reach out and say, hey, I'm going to be at this event. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. I've been following you on social media, whatever you want to say, and just kind of give people a heads up. Hey, I'll be looking for you at this event. And that way, when you get to the event, maybe you'll feel more comfortable talking to them because you've already had that little bit of an interaction on social media. And then, the last thing is to post that you're attending the event. Sometimes that's really fun. Like, you don't know who else is going to attend the event. You say, hey, I'm going to this event. And suddenly 5 people in your network are like, hey, I'm going to this event too. And you feel better because you say, okay, I'm at least going to know some people there. Another thing I think related to that, which is great, is using an event hashtag. So a lot of times with, maybe bigger events or even some small events, there might be a branded hashtag for the event. So it's a great way to kind of put yourself out there on social media by using the branded event hashtag. And that way, if people search for the tag, they will see that you are going to be there or that you were there. And kind of, if you post about the event, your name will come up and they're more likely to look you up and connect with you. And it's a great way to start to build your network. So Tina and Stephanie, do you have any tips about how you guys prepare for networking events that might help our viewers?
Well, I actually, like you said, finding out who's there before the event, I might take it a step further, and if I'm friends with them on Facebook, I might try to research what has been going on in their life recently, or maybe even go to their business page and see what is happening with their business. This way I can ask them meaningful questions and maybe have a deeper connection with them. Sometimes I also like to give myself a pep talk because networking is not always easy for everybody. So just a little, you could do this, don't forget to ask questions, and those kind of things really before I go in there, I think is a positive thing to do.
I think that's super helpful too. I love the sort of pep talk in my car, You're good enough, you're smart enough, that whole thing. What about you, Stephanie?
I think connecting beforehand is definitely really important. Another tip I think that's important is having an updated profile pic or having one at all. That was a huge failure of mine, is I did not have a profile picture of myself, and I was going to networking events and people were saying they knew who Tina was and, oh, you're Stephanie. And they had, not that you need expectations, but they didn't have any expectations of who I was or what I looked like or that I was even existed because I didn't have that profile picture. So having an updated one was really good. That way I was able to connect with people, they could put the face with the name, and it was easy for them to come over and introduce themselves.
I think that's so important. I can't believe how many people out there either don't have a profile picture or have such an outdated profile picture that when you see them in person and they tell you who they are, you kind of give them a second look like, really? You're that person? I would have never guessed that if I look at your picture. Of course, you don't say anything, but you're thinking in your head, like, they look nothing like their picture. So I think you can really do yourself a disservice as a business owner just in your career. People will connect with you much more easily by having that, recent and professional looking profile picture. Yeah. Yeah, great tips. So, we're here today, obviously, to talk about your businesses, but also, as you know, I'm a proud member of the Busy Mamas Networking Organization, and I'd love to, even though I know the story, I'd love to share with our viewers how it came about, how you started, where you got the idea. Tell me what you think.
Okay, well, as you know, Jennifer, the inspiration for Busy Mamas did come from you. Stephanie and I had attended a networking event where you were speaking, and I remember going home being so energized about networking, and I was like, wow, networking, this is so amazing. I want to do this all the time. I want to join as many groups as I can. I want to go to as many events as I can. And then reality set in, and I realized, wait a minute, I am a busy mom of 2 little ones. I'm trying to run a business. When am I possibly going to go to these networking events? So I wondered, was there other women, maybe moms who own businesses who also wanted to get out there at network but didn't have the time to do it? So that's how the name Busy Mamas was formed, and the idea of doing some online networking to try to build those connections and to build the support and all of that stuff. So although it started with Busy Moms in mind, Busy Mamas is for all women in business.
Yep.
And we are actually a community of women who work together and help each other grow through making connections and that support and collaborations. We have built a strong community of women who are very excited about their businesses and about each other, and really about supporting one another. And it's really amazing what has developed from this.
It truly is amazing. I mean, it's been amazing to just kind of watch the progress, see where you started from and where you guys are in really a relatively short time.
Yes, very short.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, there are a lot of women's organizations out there, and what do you think sets you guys apart as a women's organization?
I think the big thing that sets us apart is that our group is really relationship-led. It's not lead-led. So you have different organizations that you join up, and your goal or the thing that it tracks is, we're going to give you X amount of leads, or this many leads are required. And it's a little bit more about the business side. Right. And Busy Mamas is really about taking care of the entire person. So we're there to support you as women in business, since we experience things that a lot of people don't. You have your life to manage, your household, your relationships, and then you have your business. So when we're there to support people in that way, the business aspect is just a great bonus that goes along with it. And then you're building these relationships and able to refer people based on that. So it's a really solid referral, and it's a solid support system.
And it really is. I mean, I think that's one of the things I really love about it, is just how personal it is in addition to the business aspect. And even though it's kind of led by more of a personal aspect than business, it's been amazing to see how many collaborations and partnerships and business has come out of it for the women in such a short time.
Yeah.
That's been really amazing to watch.
And I think what they say too is you love the person so much that then you'll learn about their business, and I think that's a lot of it, finding out who the person is and then keep learning more and more about them.
Yeah, and I think what's nice is even if it's a service that you don't particularly need for yourself, and I can think of a couple mamas who run maybe more children and baby service type businesses, and I don't have children, but I've gotten to know them. I know how to refer them. I'm happy to share their posts and what they're doing, and I think we all do a really good job of that, and it's a very supportive network. So that's what I really like about it. So one of the things that I think is also great is that you have these daily questions, which for me I think it's great because you get to really know people through those daily questions. I'm always shocked at how much engagement those questions produce, because there's a lot of people that kind of put questions out there, other groups that put questions out there, and sometimes you look at it and nobody responds, or maybe 1 or 2 people respond. But of the group that we have, we get a ton of engagement every day with the daily questions. How did you guys kind of come up with that concept, and why is it so important for you guys to have the daily questions for people to engage?
Actually, before my life as a mom and a business owner, I was a high school art teacher. And when the students would come in, I would have a do now activity for them. Okay. So on Monday, for instance, we would have a Math Monday problem. Even though we were in art, we still did the math. And then Tuesday, we would have Talk to the Text Tuesday and Word Wednesday, and all of these different activities based upon the day. So I thought, maybe we can use this in the group and have some kind of do now activity, which a lot of people do in the morning, but they might do it sometime throughout the day. Sure. For instance, today is Motivation Monday, and before they get that, start reading that little thing and responding and then going about their day, might just be that little boost that they need, especially when you're in business alone and you don't have those coworkers, you can't really go to the lunchroom and talk to people. You kind of have that interaction, and you can kind of, connect with other people. So that's how the daily question was kind of form that way on that idea. But also, I think those people who can't get to networking events or say, I can't do this, I can't find a sitter, I can't do all these things, I think just participating in those questions makes you're known by the, people know each other, and they're reading the questions, they're engaging with the other people. So I really think that doing that helps them grow and network in that way.
Yeah, and I think, that kind of even answers my next question, which was just why is it so important to have a certain amount of online engagement? I think you've answered that, that whole idea that it is hard a lot of the time, whatever's going on in your life, whether it's kids or other obligations, to get out to networking events. And I think people really do get to know each other on a very deep and personal level through your group and through the daily questions. And one thing that I didn't, put on here to ask you guys about, but I think would be interesting to mention is the idea of your virtual networking night. Could you talk a little bit about that, one of you? I know it's not on here, but
yeah. Sure. So networking night is a way for you to network, from your dining room table, from your couch. You could even be cozy in bed.
Right.
And you're able to interact with all the mamas that are in the group. We do have a question of the month then. And if you can't get to something like a Meet the Mamas at night or a breakfast or something that someone's hosting, you're still able to hit as many people as are on that night, which could be 50 people, could be 40 people. It really varies by the night, and you can interact just like a regular networking event. So you can share who you are, you say what you do, you give a little bit about yourself to remind not only the seasoned members but the new members also, and you get yourself out in front of those people.
Yeah, it's almost the idea of a 30-second pitch, but online. But what I love that you guys add to it, and similar to the daily question idea, is, I wouldn't say it's, with a heavy hand, but in a sense you sort of require that participation. Yeah. You want people to be active online with the daily questions and with the networking night. You want people to respond to people's posts and put themselves out there and not just kind of post and move on to the next thing like a lot of groups have. You'll see online a lot of people kind of will post something to a group and then post something to 6 groups and then they really have no interaction with the group and they don't really build the relationships. But you guys kind of don't stand for that in a sense. I mean, there are people that don't really abide by that. They don't really get much out of the group and they kind of just go off into the sunset.
Yeah, and it goes back to that whole thing, it works if you work it. Those who are working the group and doing the questions and the networking and, being a part of it, those are the people that it's working for. And I know in other groups sometimes when you drop your stuff there, it's like crickets, nobody says anything about anything. And it's nice to get that feedback and have that support from each other.
Definitely. I mean, and you said it a little earlier, I think as an entrepreneur it can get very lonely, especially for a lot of us who have come from an atmosphere where we weren't always entrepreneurs and you're kind of used to having the coworkers and the people to talk to and, what happened on such and such show last night, and then you don't have that and you're kind of just in your house, you and your computer, and, some days it's tough.
Yeah,
so absolutely. It's really nice to have the support system.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about, I know the answer to this, but again, I want to share with our viewers that you're opening a co-working space for women entrepreneurs in Ardmore, and I'd love to hear more about that.
Sure. So our co-working space is hopefully slotted to open officially in November. We have signed the lease and we're getting some things done now, and we want that to really be a space for the group as a whole. There are going to be certain members that are going to be there daily, weekly, working, and it's really going to be a community of people that sort of operates like a think tank. So you get out of your house, you get away from your home office, it's another place to sit and really be creative, collaborate, and then also for the busy mamas to have a home. I think it is important for us to be able to have a meeting spot. We're going to do an open co-working space day that everyone from the group will be able to come, and you can lunch with another busy mama, you can take a private room and collaborate with another busy mama, and I think it'll really help the group get to another level from where we are now and help everyone individually really reach a different level.
Yeah, I definitely think it will too. So the open networking day that you're talking about, is that going to be monthly? Is that going to be quarterly? How do you see that?
Our plan is to have that monthly.
Okay.
So we'll do a block of time. We still have to iron out a couple different things, but we're thinking over lunchtime, like an 11 to 1 window where anyone can stop in and you wouldn't have to use your set hours to network with another person that day. It's kind of like a free space.
Okay, I love that idea. So kind of going along with that, I mean, that's obviously a lot already, but do you guys have any other goals for the group in the next year? Anything coming up that we don't know about yet that you could share?
I mean, I don't know if there's really any big announcements, but I mean, ultimately our goal has been from the beginning to make people aware about all of the members in the group, you know, each of the businesses, all the local business, and I think just to keep increasing the awareness. I know with the co-working space coming, there's going to be a lot of events there, and there's going to be a lot of things for people to attend and to, you know, make that awareness even more, because there's things that you can go to that are right there in the community.
Great. So, you know, as I said at the beginning, in addition to everything we've already talked about, you guys both have your own businesses that you run in addition to the Busy Mamas and all your other life obligations with your kids and families. So how do you do it? How do you balance it all? How do you divide your time between all the stuff at home?
Can't tell our secret.
I mean, it's, you know, it's a lot, you know, because the Busy Mamas in and of itself would seem like it would be, you know, essentially a full-time job to take care of. But then I know you each have your individual businesses. So what tips do you have for how you balance or juggle, or however you want to put it, but how do you run your own businesses and run the Busy Mamas?
I think each day is its own separate thing. It's really one day at a time, so you can, I always have an attack plan of, you know, this week I'm going to do these 3 nights of just family time, and then this day is going to be a Busy Mama day where I really just do Busy Mama things, and then another day might be I'm preparing for an event, so Tina and I will kind of bounce off each other. I'll say, look, I can't be online today, I can't really manage the group, if anything comes up, be on call, and then she might have shoots on a different day and we'll swap back that way. Managing the Busy Mamas is nice because we do switch off weeks, so we kind of give each other a little bit of a break. That way 1 week we can focus more on our business, and then the following week we'll be on and the other person kind of gets a little bit of a break. The family stuff is just like any normal day-to-day person just trying to manage their family. We just stay up a little bit later than everyone else.
Yes, especially Tina.
I'm getting better. But really, I think it's just about like spinning the plates, make sure everything is spinning without it dropping. And when it does drop, to kind of just dealing and picking up the pieces in the best way you possibly can.
Right.
Which is just a little
so
bit
there's no
about life.
magic formula, basically.
No, there's none.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I mean, I find that in my own life, but I had to ask, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what about your own individual businesses? Stephanie, you want to maybe start and tell us a little bit about, what Seal Events does and, maybe what you consider to be your biggest success?
So my business is an event planning business. I do mostly weddings, I do some bar and bat mitzvah, and then I do a lot of in-home private events. I have a lot of clients that I've known for a very long time that have trusted me with all of their really important events, which I think is definitely a blessing that I know these people, I really like these people, and they trust me to manage their big Ds. I got started in the event business about 10 years ago, and I've always really liked it. And I acquired a store that actually sold product, so I do have some of that going on too as well. Not as much, but some.
And don't you also have some helpers that come out to private events as well?
I do, yeah. So I staff servers, bartenders, chefs, and kitchen help for different events.
And that can even be in people's homes, right?
Yeah, so that's the big part of my in-home events is bringing events to people. I have clients that really like to be home. They like to be cozy. They don't want to go out to a restaurant. They want to invite their friends and family into their home, and I allow them to be a guest at their own event, which I think is just as important for a 10-person dinner party as it is for a 150-person wedding in your backyard.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we bring in the people, we bring in all of the rentals, and we make it happen.
Great. What about you, Tina? You want to tell us about Chase and Ella?
Yes, I am actually a photographer. I've been at this since 2008. The business name actually was something different prior than Chase and Ella, but then it became so personal, and because of my children, I wasn't able to stay at home and do this, so that's kind of how it became Chase and Ella. Just recently, I decided to switch over to being an exclusive newborn photographer. And that's within just, I guess, the last year that has happened. I love to, make these cute, squishy poses of the newborns and work to pose them, and it takes 3 to 4 hours, and I love every minute of it. You have to have tons of patience for it, but I'm like walk through fire series about doing this and being the best that I can be and keep growing and from that.
Sure, and just because I know you personally, I know that for a while you've been struggling with what is that niche that I want to concentrate on, and now you've decided it's newborns.
Yes.
Do you feel like everything has sort of come together since you made that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's scary to let go of all the other things and how am I going to survive and am I going to still get business? But I think when you focus on that one thing that you're really, really passionate about and you really want to do, everything just comes together. And I don't even know how it is coming together, but somehow it is, and it's just. I don't know, magical.
I think that's really important because I think there's a lot of local photographers that are great out there. For example, that they think, well, photography is my passion, and that's all I have to narrow it down to. I'm a photographer. But I think really, the way that you've gone about it and really decided to focus on newborns, not that it necessarily has to be one thing. There are people that have maybe a few focuses, but you can't be a jack of all trades. I mean, there are people out there, whether they're a photographer or something else, that kind of try to do it all. And, that whole idea of jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good thing for, business owners out there to try as much as they can to focus down on a niche for their business. I think that can help them be very successful.
It's very important, yes.
Yeah. So what about failures? Does either of you want to address maybe what's been a big failure that you've gotten past with either your individual businesses or with Busy Mamas?
I'll say one for my individual business, which is for sure, I got into the business way too soon. And this is a huge mistake of probably a lot of photographers, and I don't know, I guess I'm not ashamed to admit that, I thought because I had an expensive camera and, the, desire to do this, I'm going to be a photographer, I'm going to open a photography business. And I think a lot of photographers open that business too soon and say, I'm going to start doing this and all of that. And I just wasn't ready for it at that time. I've been taking the stairs each time and trying to grow and grow and grow, and that's how I feel like I know as much as I do. But looking back, if I would, give advice to another photographer, just really making sure that you're ready to open the doors and say, yes, I am a business, is probably important for any business too. Really being ready, the timing.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I can see where that's a big concern. Yeah, you have to really jump in. I think before you're an entrepreneur, I know this happened with myself, you have this idea that, you're going to have all this flexibility and free time. And in a sense, you do. That is some of the reason why people become entrepreneurs, because you don't have the set, whether it's 9 to 5 or longer hours. You do have some flexibility. And, if today I want to take 2 hours to go run errands, nobody's going to stop me, that kind of thing. You can work late at night, those sorts of things. But at the same time, starting a business, you're all in. It's all consuming. It can be 24/7 if you let it. So I think, kind of realizing that. And a lot of times, it's easy to hear people say, are you really all in? It's going to be 24/7. You're like, sure, I got it. And then you start and, it definitely is a transition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Positive and negative, I think. But overall more positive, I would say.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So what about, I know this is a little kind of touchy-feely, but I think for the two of you, I'm going to get a good answer, at least from one of you. What is kind of like a mantra or some words that you live by? Like, you had mentioned before going to networking events, you try to give yourself a pep talk. Is there kind of anything you tell yourself every day? Like we talk on the Busy Mamas page about Monday motivation or, words to live by and things like that. Is there anything that helps you get through a day or get through a challenge?
I think mine's really simple. I generally find myself saying, it'll be fine. I just always come back to, it'll be fine. Because it will.
Yeah.
Mostly everything will be totally okay. We don't have to freak out. And I kind of feel myself just taking that, I think since I am in the event business, and then also with Busy Mamas, there's a lot of ladies and there's a lot of different things going on. And I just always say, it'll be fine. Because we'll figure it out. There's really nothing that I don't think we'll have to overcome that we can't overcome.
And I really admire that about you because I think, you really seem to have an even temperament and you have a very calm demeanor, which I don't. And so, I really admire that about you. And I think, you always hear those expressions of people saying, what you're worried about today, 3 weeks, 6 months from now, when you look back on it, is it going to have been worth worrying about? And the answer almost always is no, it's not.
Right.
But, I think for those of us that don't have that ability, it's harder to kind of not focus on those things that aren't that important, but we focus on them anyway. So what about you, Tina?
I don't know if I really have a mantra or anything of that nature. I know within my business, too, I use the words be pure, be playful, be you. And I think it's something that I kind of do for myself and I want to, tell others about. And although the be pure is kind of more for my newborns, it's kind of also going back to the idea of being like the best you can be and being honest and positive and kind and all those things. And then the be playful, I love to be funny and have fun and silly and playful with my kids and family and things like that. And then the be you is just being proud of kind of who you are. Because I know a lot of times I get lost in that, and maybe you're thinking, I'm not good enough, or this isn't great, or this isn't great. And just, embracing who you are and being the best you can be, I think that is very important, and being proud of yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's...
Yeah, and again, as an entrepreneur, I think kind of stepping back and giving yourself those props or those pats on the back, because a lot of times there's really nobody to do it for you.
Yeah.
You're not having that mid-year review where somebody's saying, good for you, you met these goals.
Yeah.
That's why
So
we
that's
have
really
shout-outs.
important. Exactly, yeah. So that's another thing that's great on Busy Mamas. We shout out other mamas, and, we give people accolades who may not otherwise get them in their life.
Yeah.
So, what about any bucket list? I'm always curious, just outside of business, do you guys have any bucket list things that you would like to pursue that you haven't done yet?
Oh, pursue. Well, I have 2 bucket list things. I don't really, it's not really a career thing, but I would like to see Italy. That's really important.
Sure.
And I was just telling my husband this from these questions on the way here, is that I always wanted to be a pilot, like an Air Force pilot, which
Okay.
is really crazy, but I wanted to be that when I was younger. So on my bucket list is to sit in a fighter jet.
Awesome. Okay, I love
Very
it.
cool. Yeah. Awesome. Gosh, I don't know. This bucket list thing, I think about a lot, and I don't even know what it'd be. I really, since I was an art teacher and I have all the art background, I would love to make art, enough of it for like a gallery showing, and have my stuff in a gallery one day. I think that would be really cool. I don't know what I would make or what would happen, but I think maybe going towards that and trying to do that. I know I have thoughts of writing a book someday and all these kind of things, like a lot of different creative things. I also love to dance. I'd love to be in dance class or something like that. And kind of maybe focusing, doing things for myself and like more of my hobbies rather than always, worrying about what the kids are doing and that kind of thing.
Wonderful. So how can people reach you guys for your individual businesses? Do you want to give maybe your website or?
Sure. So my website is sealevents.net, and then I also have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And I am at chaseandella.com, and you can find me on Instagram at chaseandella, and also I'm going to start trying to do Periscope, and of course Facebook and Twitter, all Chase and Ella as well.
Wonderful. So thank you guys so much. So what we're going to do right now is just kind of highlight a couple of local events that you should know about. So the first one is an event coming up on October 21st. There's a local, well, I guess she's not a local author, she's pretty well known, but her name is Laura Vanderkam, and she's one of my favorite authors because she talks a lot about focusing your time and your core competencies in a way that you can be happy and more productive and really concentrate on the things in your life and the relationships that matter. She has a new book out called I Know How She Does It, and there's a free event coming up at Temple Beth Hillel on October 21st. They do ask you to register online. It's at 7:30 at night, and she's going to be speaking about her book, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fabulous, so that might be something fun to check out. The other event I wanted to highlight is the Lemon Run, which is with Alex's Lemonade. I'm sure a lot of us out there are familiar with Alex's Lemonade, trying to find a cure for pediatric cancer and childhood cancer. And they have a big, fun family event, in November on the 8th, which is the Lemon Run, which will leave from Memorial Hall in Fairmount Park. And you can sign up as a team or as an individual or as a kid. What's nice about it is you can do it as a serious 5K time run, or you can sign up as an untimed walker or runner. You can bring strollers, you can bring dogs, which I intend to bring my dog. And I'm really excited about it. So you can look online at alexslemonade.org, and you can see, based on how you sign up, the cost is different. It varies from $25 to $35. It's from 8:30 to 11:30 in the morning. And to sign up your child is only $10. So I hope a lot of you will come out for that and support a great cause and have a fun family day as well. So thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks to our viewers for watching.